Three vehicles.
But they were in the sheriff.
Yeah, we didn't, so I don't have a number we decided to do.
No, but we'll have to. Okay, ready? Okay, call to order the Fountain County Council meeting for September 12th. And we have on the agenda Baker, Kelly, and Barnes and Thornburg and Power Ranger to talk about the Crossroads Solar Project. You want to start? Sure. Hi.
Good morning.
Morning.
I want to stand somewhere.
Or well, this chair or whatever.
That'd be great.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't bring, kind of handouts. I'm not sure sort of the format here, but my name is Colin Snow. I'm a developer with Ranger Power. We're developers of the Crossroads Solar Project, the proposed Crossroads Solar Project. This is a 200 megawatt solar project that we have been started developing 2019. Just a quick introduction of who we are. Ranger Power is a Chicago-based utility scale solar developer. We develop in the Midwest, develop in 9 states. We practice we've come to the philosophy of community focused solar development that's worked for us. We have some projects built in Michigan, Illinois, project in construction in Wisconsin, and we permitted what was at the time the largest permitted project in Sheldon County, in Indiana, in 2019. It was the Speedway Solar Project. The Crossroads Solar Project is kind of our project we've been studying here since 2019. It comprises about 1,800 acres of farmers who have basically signed contracts with us to participate in the project. And the project we're trying to build, just to kind of give a quick idea of what these projects are. They entail basically ground mounted solar racked basically on a racking structure that's pointed north and south. We're using bifacial single axis tracking technology. So those are panels that sit on top of a tracker, and in the morning they follow, they tilt a little bit east and they follow the sun to the west. The structure of these projects is that we spend a lot of time developing the project several years before any construction can happen. Construction happens once we sell the power of the project. And I can get into a little bit about how that works in some detail in a moment, but construction of these projects, typically is relatively quick. It can take a year to 18 months. Then when the project's online, when it's putting power on the grid, we typically do that for power contracts, sales contracts for 20 to 35 years. And then you're contractually obligated through our agreements with landowners to restore the land to farmable condition, basically. And we're able to do that by not having a big impact on the land. So the racking itself is not anchored in concrete. We use as little concrete or anything on the ground as possible. There are I-beams pushed into the ground below the frost line. We plant kind of local grasses and pollinators, and we have to come up with a comprehensive drainage plan to attend to erosion, preserve the soil, so that the land can be farmed when the projects are done. In the meantime, the 200 megawatts that this project produces provides power, provides an average of power for about 30,000 Indiana homes. So for the life of the project, it sort of operates as almost a small power plant, or one that has less impact than many other forms of generation. At the end of the life, can be taken out of the ground. So I know I just threw a lot at everyone, and I just wanted to stop there and see sort of what questions you might have for me just off of that.
How you sold the power?
Great question. So yeah, that's a key part of this. So sorry, just to back up on how that works. So the first short answer is no. Yeah. But the only way these projects can move forward is if the power is sold, and it's sold through these long-term contracts. We're confident that we can provide power based off the sun, our research on what the sun's going to do 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And so we'll sell the power at a fixed rate without any time. That's very appealing to the large scale buyers of this kind of power. So, utilities, large companies, they'll buy this power because right now it's some of the cheapest power on the market. They'll buy it for 20 to 30 years because it's a hedge against fluctuating ground power and other power prices. They know when it's going to come online, when the sun rises during the day, and they know when it's coming off their mix. And so once that agreement's in place, you use that agreement basically to move forward with construction. So, but as a long-winded answer of saying, we have not yet sold power. We're moving through stages of development, getting permits, coming to talk to you guys about abatement. We hope as part of that process to sell it out. Anything else? Great. All right, I'll hand it over to Jason. Sure.
Oh, thank you. Jason, similar to Baker Tilly, also Cal Carlson, Baker Tilly, and Rick Hall. With Barnes Forward. Good to see you again. It's been a while since the Dale project that we were looking for. As Colin said, they're proposing to put together develop a solar farm project here, and both of our firms, Rick, Barnes Forward, and Baker Tilly, worked on the majority of the wind and solar farms throughout the state. And so Colin had reached out to us to kind of put together some preliminary analysis on what the estimated property taxes would be based upon the development, what the tax abatement savings could potentially be, and then also what the overall impact would be to the county for this development. And this is the same analysis that we prepare for really all the counties that we worked on in the past, because it's something that's the development's being proposed to you, and you're trying to make a decision if you want to grant abatement or not. And it's important to know what the impact such a large investment is for the county. So we prepared this analysis to kind of show you what the impact would be, and filed passed around analysis. And we thought we'd go through that with you today. This is really more informative, so we want this to be very conversational. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. So you turn to page 2. As Colin said, we're looking at a 200 megawatt facility, looking at a total investment of about $175 million. And that's a combination of utility property and real property improvements. Of that $175 million, about $157 million of it is going to be the panels themselves. Those panels are assessed as utility property. So it's very similar to a manufacturing property that you're probably more familiar with, that depreciates over time. But then once it hits a 30% floor, or it's 30% of cost, it stays at that assessed, and it stays at that 30% of cost for the life of the project. Works the same way with utility property. Really, the only difference is like manufacturing facilities, They file their personal property 103 returns, and they submit them to the county assessor's office. The county assessor processes them and submits them to the county auditor's office. Here with utility property, the company files their information directly to the state. And the state submits the information to the county auditor's office every year, determined to the assessed value. But very similar to manufacturing, the company files their forms, they have their own depreciation schedule. The important piece is under current law, they still also are applied to 30%. So if you look at the top of the schedule, you can see in year one, for the utility property, it assesses about $50.4 million would be new assessed value that we add to the tax base of the county, the school, and the township. Second year, 75 million. And in the third year, it drops down to 47,250,000. And we're anticipating that would stay at that level for the remaining life of the project, which is 25, 35 years. The next component is the improvements. So that's real property. We've assumed that there'd be about $19 million of real property assessed value. We assume that it will be assessed at 50% of cost. So you have the $8.7 million of new real property assessed value. And then the third component of the increase in assessed value that would be generated from this development would be the increase in land. As was mentioned, a lot of the land that's being leased is farmland, assessed at about $1,500 per acre. The state, a couple of years ago, created a new classification of land value just for solar farms. And the state's kind of divvied up into 3 different components. The area that you're in, solar land is to be assessed up to $13,000 of assessed value per acre. So just by then building this development, the land alone is going to increase potentially from $1,500 to $13,000 per acre. Now the county assessor has some fluctuation. They have some decisions that they can make. That 13,000 is a not to exceed amount. You can decide, the whole, there's mentioned 18 to 1900 acres under lease. Is the entire amount assessed at 13,000 per acre? Is it just the amount under the fence? Is it just the amount that's under the panel? That's some discretion that the county assessor has. Right now, we assume everything that's to be within the fence would be assessed at that higher amount. That's about 1,700 acres. And the 18 to 1900 is being proposed. So that increase in land is about $19.5 million. So at the top of the schedule, we're looking at this is what it would look like if you were granted, if they were granted no abatement. You'd be adding about $78 million of assessed value in year one, a little over 100 in year two, and flat line about 75.5 million thereafter. As was mentioned, the company is asking for a tax abatement, which is traditional. Just about every project that Rick and I worked on, I'd say about 99% of them have asked for a tax abatement. And that kind of goes back, I don't want to speak for Colin, we're not involved in this part of the negotiations, but again, they haven't sold power yet. They try to be competitive, working with being competitive. The other firms that have come to the state that have asked and have received tax abatement. The majority of the firms that we see do ask for tax abatement from counties. Again, trying to keep the operating costs as low as possible, keep their costs low, to be able to make a profit when they sell the power. So the company has asked for a traditional 10-year declining abatement. So in the middle of the schedule there, you can see with the declining abatement. Again, if you remember kind of tax abatement or tax phase in, the first year you typically pay 100 or pay 0%, the assessed value, and then it gradually increases thereafter. Until after the abatement's over, then you're paying 100%. So in year one, you can see the utility property is 0, improvements is 0, you get 100% abatement the first year. But you notice the land value still looking at $19.5 million. And that's because land is not available. So immediately, any increase in the land assessed value, you'll see that increase in the tax base. And you can see in year two, which we're showing in 2026, utility assessed value increases to 7.5 million, to 9, and then you can see here by year 11, it hits that $47 million again. As that abatement rolls off and phases out, by year 11, they're paying taxes on 100%. Same thing for improvements. It gradually increases each year until year 11, they're paying 100% of the taxes on that $8.7 million. So the far right, you can see how the tax base would increase to 19 million, 27 million, 30 million. Again, it increases gradually until you get that 75.5 million again. Now, with typically what we've seen in other counties and what Rick and I help counties with is there's typically what we call an economic development payment that counties request of the renewable energy developments. And that's because, as was mentioned, they're taking up and leasing a large part of the land in the county. So there's an opportunity cost that the county has there. You're losing, 17, 18, 1900 acres of land for potentially 35 years that could potentially be developed sometime in the future. So we often see counties ask for what we call an economic development payment for the right to locate in the county. And that's kind of what we see typically. It's usually amounts per megawatt. Here in this illustration, again, it's all negotiable between the county and the company. But here for this illustration, we assume that economic development payment is basically based on $15,000 per megawatt. So you take the 15,000 times 200 megawatts, that's $3 million. And again, that's very typical for counties to ask for an amount similar to that for a company. What we've also seen counties do is say, well, that's great, that's upfront cash that we can have. But because of the needs of the county, because of certain projects, we've had some counties say, well, we have more projects, or we have a number of projects in the county that we can use money for. So what if we give the company more aggressive abatement, but ask for a higher economic development payment equal to the additional amount they would save in a higher tax abatement? So that's what we've done here on the bottom of page 2, is we looked at getting 100% abatement for 10 years for the equipment, the panels, and the real property. So again, you just very simple. The first 10 years, you build a property, they pay 0 taxes, and then year 11, they pay 100% of taxes on 47 million to 8 million on improvements. So again, for 10 years, the only increase in tax base the county would see be the increase in land value, and then after the abatement rolls off, the tax base would increase by that $75.5 million. So any questions on kind of the assessed value? Okay.
So you want to share why the payments important, given that you don't care for this?
Yeah, that's right. So kind of getting with the assessed value and impact of the county, the company is looking at locating in 2 different townships, Troy Township and Van Buren Township. So we just picked that assessed value, that $75 million, and broke it out between where they think the development's going to occur. 68% in Troy Township, 32% in Van Buren Township, just to show you kind of where they're looking at their development to be located. If you turn to page 4, as Rick was alluding to, the importance of the economic development payment to the county is, we just talked about all that new assessed value that's going to be added to the tax base. But that's going to not generate probably any additional revenue to the county. Because as you know, you guys are all going through your budgets right now. Your budget, the amount that you can levy on property taxes is dictated by the state through its maximum levy. You can't raise a penny more above that maximum levy. So it doesn't matter that they're proposing to invest, $175 million into the county and add $75 million of assessed value to the tax base. You can't raise any more in your general fund. Even though it may incur some additional expenses to maintain the land around it, you can't generate another penny. So that's why those economic development payments are very important. So if you kind of think of it like this way, this is kind of keeping it very simple, but let's assume you have your general fund budget is $100 and you have 4 taxpayers in the county. And they all have the same assessed value. So each taxpayer would pay $25 and property taxes to fund your $100 budget. If a company comes in, say they have the same assessed value as the other four taxpayers, your budget again doesn't change just because you have a new taxpayers, the new assessed value, your budget's still at $100. But now you got 5 taxpayers instead of 4. Now every one of those 5 taxpayers only pay $20 per year in property taxes instead of 25. So there is a benefit from having a new taxpayer come into the county because it reduces everyone's tax bill. So that's what we've shown here on page 4. Again, you don't receive another dollar, but what it does is it increases your tax base and reduces the tax rates for everyone in the county. So you can see in those located in Troy Township, the tax rate in Troy Township is currently $1.63. Assuming with the abatement, you can see during the life of the abatement, the tax rate would drop down to $1.56. And then after the abatement, the tax rate would drop down to $1.39. It's almost a 23-cent tax rate decrease, keeping everything else constant over that 10-year period. And you can see in Van Buren Township, current tax rate is $1.67, and it dropped down about 14 cents to $1.53. So again, the important part is here that this doesn't work just for solar farms. This is, if a Honda plant came into the county and invested, $200 million, it would work the same way. You wouldn't be able to generate another penny in your general fund, but it would help reduce tax rates. So what we've done is looked at each different unit for both the Perry and Van Buren Township. So you can see in Fountain County, the county unit would drop about 4 cents. Troy Township would drop about 1 cent. Covington School would be the biggest beneficiary. Its tax rate would drop down about 15 cents. The library drop down 2 cents, and the waste management would have a slight decrease. So, and that's important because even though what this is showing here is that really adding this development to the county, everyone in the county is going to see a slight decrease in their tax rate because everyone in the county pays the county rates. The county rate's going to drop by 4%. So everyone in the county is going to see some benefit by this development, even though it's all located in Troy and Van Buren. Page 6 just shows that, again, Fountain, the decrease by 4 cents. Covington Beaufort, our Southeast Fountain School Corporation was decreased by about 5 cents. Covington Beaufort Public Library tax rate dropped by about 2 cents. For page 7, we tried to actually show from a taxpayer standpoint what that actually means. So it's took a couple illustrative taxpayers in Troy Township and Van Buren Township. Those taxpayers will see the biggest impact. And kind of look in the middle of the schedule, if a home with an average assessed value of about $107,000, they currently pay $581 in property taxes a year. If this development were to occur, and after the tax abatements were to roll off, if they were granted, their tax bill would decrease by about $85 a year to $496 due to that decrease in tax rate. $150,000 home, their tax bill would decrease by about $147 a year. In Van Buren Township, that same $150,000 house would decrease by about $88 a year. 1 acre of land, you can see, would decrease to $3 to $2 a year per acre. And then commercial businesses of $100,000 will decrease anywhere from $140 to $236. Another way of kind of thinking of this is as they start paying more, as they pay more taxes, everyone else in the county pays less taxes. Because again, their budget doesn't change. Page 8, there are a few funds that you would see some additional revenue in, and those are your rate-driven funds, your team cap development funds, where the rate doesn't change per year unless you manually change it. That is your AV increases that does generate new revenue. The county does have a team cap development fund. This year you collected $284,706. During the abatement period, it would increase by about $7,000 a year. So you get an extra $7,000 in your team fund. And then after the abatement rolls off, you get an extra $25,000 in your team fund, or almost $310,000 a year. And in Troy Township and Van Buren both have a Q fire fund. So they would see slight increases in their fire fund rates as well. Page 9 looks at the estimated property taxes that we, based upon the information the company has given, we think that they would pay. We did assume that the tax rate would increase 3% per year, just because we looked at both Van Buren and Troy Township over the last 5 years. And I think Troy Township increased by about 2.67% the last 5 years, and Van Buren is over 4% increase in property taxes each year. So we kind of took the average about 3%. So if you look at without abatement, the first year we're looking at pay about $1.4 million in property taxes, no abatement. Year 2 would jump up to 1.9. Year 3 about 1.4, and then it just grows about 3% thereafter. So if you look at over in the company asks us to look at how much property taxes they pay over a 20, 30, 35, 40 year period. Again, over 20 years, they pay about $36.6 million in property taxes. Now keep in mind, that's not new money to the county and schools. They pay $36.6 million in property taxes, and everyone else in the county pays $36.6 million less. You can see if they were granted a 10-year property tax abatement because of that phase in, you can see that their taxes over a 20-year period would decrease from 36.6 million to about 30 million. So they'd save about $6.5 million in taxes due to a traditional 10-year tax abatement. If you were to grant them a 10-year 100% abatement, so again 100% abatement for 10 years on the utility property and the improvements, they'd only pay about $24.6 million in property taxes. So they'd save about $12 million in property taxes over that 10-year period. So that's about a $5.4 million increase in savings that they would receive going from a traditional 10-year abatement to 100% abatement. So again, what we've seen counties do is say, we have projects that we would like to do, or we know there'll be projects in the future. So we'll go from a traditional 10-year tax abatement to a more aggressive and generate more savings, tax abatement savings for the company, but then we'll ask for a higher economic development payment equal to the same amount. So from the company standpoint, it's a wash. They don't really pay any more, just less than property taxes or economic development payments. It's beneficial to the county because this way you get another $5.4 million cash that you can put in a separate fund that's basically available for any legal purpose of the county.
Or that economic dollars, is it specific on what it can be used for?
No, I mean, we can make it specific, but
Right.
generally we try to make it as flexible as possible so you can use it for anything. So then on page 10, again, this is kind of what's being negotiated, would be negotiated between the county and the company. But this is what a potential economic development payment might look like. Again, usually have the base rate of, say $50,000 per megawatt, so that's $3 million. Plus the additional abatement savings that you'd be giving the company of $5.4 million, that totals $8.4 million. And this is kind of just an illustrative repayment on how that might look like over a 10-year period. So the first year the company or the county would receive $750,000, second year $904,000, third year $961,000. And again, this is all kind of negotiable, but it kind of shows you how it would work if the two become. And we did look at doing a 20-year abatement because the equipment has allowed a super abatement, 20-year abatement over, 100% abatement over 20 years. But for this particular solar farm project, because they are regulated by the utility, they wouldn't qualify for that 100% abatement for 20 years. So we kind of with the max, just to kind of show you what that would look like at 100% for 10 years.
I have any questions.
Well, I know I've thrown a lot of numbers, a lot of information out at you at once. I can't believe it's not one question.
They'll just come as soon as the meeting's over.
Well, and you know how to,
That's-
and you know how to reach me. So if you do have questions after the meeting that you feel free to email me or call me, I'm happy to answer them.
How many more acres in Falcon County does Range Power have?
Sorry, a weed space there, or an optional weed space.
How many more acres?
Sorry, this project, we've got everything, there.
Okay, other projects in the county for more acres. Is it on the project?
Oh, yes, this is the only project in the county that we're working,
It's the one project you got to work.
yeah, this solar project, yeah, that's right. I noticed, that's the map of the project that we submitted with our, commercial solar energy permit, permit.
So right now, you're still at 1,800 acres.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you already gone through my stuff?
so great question. We put our Q position down to 200 megawatts of solar in 2019. And we're, hoping to get to kind of sign our, generator interconnection, which is basically what allows us to plug in, later this fall. Actually, sorry, I think it's just been put back to early January. But we're hoping it doesn't get pushed beyond that. It's been pushed a lot, out of our hands. This is nice so that controls that, but it looks like January's it.
And Jim, to answer your question, the commissioners are aware of about 5,000 to the way under contract.
From.
No,
It's
Well,
gonna-
then it's several.
different countries. Sign contracts. No.
Would their tax abatement be the same as what they're talking about here?
All, each company will come on the rate of percent, whether 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when they're ready, they'll do the exact same thing.
And I've heard the message of the firm is on the project, whether it's 1 year or 35 years, when's that going to be determined, whether it's 20 years or 35?
Great question. That is determined by our buyer. We build it for as long as the person, as whoever buying the power, let's say it's a huge person buying it. He was buying 300 megawatts of power from us. They'll buy it for 20 years or 30 years, and we're under obligation to deliver it to that.
I mean, that means quite a bit of difference. Years and 35 years, and me being the taxpayer and when my taxes reduced, I don't want to look that far. It's just 1 year.
Yeah, hi, I'm Christy. I'm the attorney with the law firm of King and Evans. I do about 80 or 90% of my work private. On solar projects, I also represent counties and cities and towns, including Crawfordsville. As you know, they have several solar projects locally. To answer your question, ma'am, these projects can have a much longer life than the contract they want to get with the original buyer. And in all likelihood, they end up with another contract with a rate probably for the remaining what we call useful life. And as long as it's out there, it's going to be a tax benefit as long as it's operational. Does that make sense? So it's going to provide that benefit. I will also tell you to your question, ma'am, Indiana, if you talk to myself, Indiana is 4 gigawatts short on power today. 1 gigawatt is enough to have more than power in the entire state. What that means is we are importing power from other states. That is projected by MISO, not us, to continue for the next several years. The reason why is some of the slow development that's occurring, some of the problems with the Chinese tariffs on solar panel, some of the problems that we've seen related to the pandemic, getting supply chain, lots of things are coming together all at once. And so Indiana needs this power. That's why you're seeing so many developers, other than Range County, they're doing it everywhere because Indiana is so short on power. And what will happen is that these projects don't come online your power prices are just gonna increase. And anytime you have to buy from another state, it's gonna cost you more. So that's why you're seeing influx. The other thing I want to let you know is since we're looking at hoping to be, have all of our approvals from, we've already got the approval from the state, as we talked about, and we're looking at getting that NISO federal approval, and we want to be in construction this time next year. We really appreciate working with you just as quickly as possible on an economic development agreement. We're really interested in making you happy to get us to move forward. So appreciate your efforts in that regard.
I know that normally and typically contracts have decommission clauses in them. And I'm assuming that yours does as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, was bond prior to the restoration, currently all of our MOUs. We're contracted basically to post money outside of our company that can be accessed either by us or by the county or by the landlord actually to remove whatever's out on the site. And to Chris's point, you know, these can be repowered and live longer than the 20, 30 years. Right now, we're planning for this project alone, which gives us the right to kind of produce power for up to 40 years. And then it can kind of beyond that will be a new negotiation. But yes, there's a bond in place for the restoration. Will be a bond in place for the restoration. And we're contracted to basically complete that restoration within 12 months of the end of life of the project. So everything's got to come out of the ground, the ground has to be restored to formable conditions by a year after the project is done. Just to back to Jason's point too. Sorry, Jason had mentioned just the value of the panels out there. The panels are warranted for 25 years. There's already older generations of panels that are being resold at a price that are outside of the warranty. They're being resold at an extremely high price, and the cost of the resale value of those panels exceeds restoration costs by 4 to 1 at a conservative estimate. So it's out there, it's still going to be valuable to people should the land be restored. The bond is kind of just in case, but it's very likely that it doesn't need it.
So typically under your zoning ordinance, I haven't looked at it, there'll be a requirement for this decommissioning.
Yeah, I believe yours, but ours is grandfathered, I believe, into the prior zoning ordinance that does not have a decommissioning term, it's my understanding. So so what we were relying on was the decommissioning agreements that are in the landowner leases.
Yeah, I think from the county's perspective, it's still want a separate decommissioning.
Right.
And then typically you'd have a road use agreement too, that provides for these situations.
That's right. We're in conversation with the county over that those changes as well. And that's required in the ordinance. There's a requirement for an engineer to get secondary roads, we just the bond that the engineer says the value of that bond. And basically we're required to if any damage to the road, we have to repair.
Kind of time frame are you looking at for approval of the abatement?
Well, first, and I've heard also Rick kind of talk about the council kind of next steps as well. But one thing I wanted to mention that it's important. I mean, one of the biggest benefits to the county is the decrease in tax rate. And the economic development payment is huge to the county, but also the decrease in tax rate is very significant for everyone in the county. So that's something that, our firms work with on the county on negotiating. Part of the economic development payment is just not calculating and determining the amount, but also setting that what that minimum set value is. So it doesn't fall below that. So you're going to get that tax rate benefit for the life of development. So that's something that's also included in the economic development payment. So
I mean, we need to work out the economic development payment before we vote on an abatement. Right, so that we are all in agreement on that. Okay.
I don't know, Rick, if you want to talk about what's the typical process
Yeah, the typical process would be to work with the company to negotiate this agreement. And work with a working group from the county, somebody from the commissioners, somebody from the council. And work through that and then present it to the council and commissioners when fully negotiated for approval. And as you know, the abatement process is a two-step process where you have a declaratory resolution and then you have a confirming resolution. Creating the economic revitalization area, improving the abatement. So, realistically, that's probably November, December.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry. Yes, this is our main concern, because we are, hoping to get the MISO soon and sell power. It's really important for us to understand these numbers, as soon as possible. November, December absolutely works. We'd love to try to hold that. I think that'd be great.
we can't get financing for the project, but we get all the, therefore, we can't start construction, therefore, we'll miss our online deadlines. And everything just falls like a domino.
But you haven't sold the power yet.
No, and in fact, this will be a key point, I think they brought up, this is a huge, line item in the price of the power. So, with that,
No one can buy this power until they know what the debate is. No one in the right mind will buy it at this point. Because they buy it. Here's what's gonna be.
So you want to be on cue to have MISO look at this late December, January?
so the MISO process is separate from this. It's just that because, that determines a lot of our timeline, and because the MISO, process is done then, we're hoping to, start construction kind of like next winter 2023. But to do that, we have to sell the power, and to sell the power, we have to have an abatement, in place. And so, kind of backdate and basically have an abatement in place by December would be ideal. Be great. Or sorry, have ADA, the whole structure, sorry.
Jim, would you be interested? Being the representative of the council, meet with the commissioner's representative and work out the agreement?
Sure, I think one.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Okay.
Any other questions?
Anybody have any other questions for Jason and Colin? Carol, you had something?
So the abatement goes to the project or to power?
Great question. It goes to the project. So Raider Power is the developer, but every one of our projects is established with its own LLC. So that all agreements are in that LLC's name, because every project is very individual. There's a different, abatement or county structure, or, there's different leases and different projects. So everything's under the one LLC, and that's Crossroad Solar LLC. And so that'll go like, that's always like.
So if you go bankrupt or it's sold to another one, we cannot be pretty good.
Well, the abatement will be subject to get. So long as a future owner, successor owner complies with that equity development agreement, then they'll receive the abatement.
So if somebody takes over the project or something like that, takes over a company, something I don't see, development of companies. The LLC and all of the attending agreements doing this, we follow the name. So, Duke took over and bought it, only that they still be responsible for it, in terms of the economic development agreement and all these restorations, like roads, every agreement, the project is based on those negotiations inside of that LLC that follows the thing. So if there's anything out on that land, it has to buy it.
Or they don't get the abatement? Okay. So Jason, is that what you need? If we got a council representative, commissioner representative? And who will meet with them and then bring up a plan to work out.
Meeting, all you I don't understand how big is the group is gonna be guilty. You guys are all get involved with our people.
Well, probably us. Kind of talking from the county's perspective, seeing what you want to propose. And then whatever you feel comfortable with, we'll go back to the company with your proposal. And that's kind of, because Rick and I will be kind of, Collins kind of helped us, hired us to prepare this analysis, because they know we do this throughout the state. They know that you would request this eventually, so they wanted to get the ball moving. But from here on out, we're going to honestly representing the county on the deal. But that's kind of what the next step, that kind of next step is you guys decide what you feel comfortable with on the terms and then offer that as a proposal. And this was really just more for informational, because I know this is the first time most of you see any numbers or heard about this, so.
What's the meeting about?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For a great rest of your day.
Sure.
That's pretty good stuff. Yeah, so thank you.
Okay, so everyone had a chance to look over your minutes from the August 8th meeting. And also the September 6th joint meeting of the commissioners and council. Is there any additions or corrections to any of those? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes? Kelly, second. Dale, all those in favor? Is Tom voting or he ready to raise his hand? Okay, so 7. Review and acknowledge treasurer's bank reconciliation and monthly comparison report of funds. Is there a motion to acknowledge the treasurers and the monthly comparison? Jim Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? Okay, 7. Report of collections is submitted. Acknowledge the report of collections from the ambulance for June and July. Clerk health reporter for July and the sheriff for August. Is there a motion to acknowledge those? Bill, second. Kelly, all those in favor? 7 no. Review and oh no, we've already did. We got clerk's monthly report for July.
That's a
but it's
different thing.
It's a different
The
report.
one is report of collections and this other report is the one that goes to the state.
Okay. So is there a motion to acknowledge the clerk's monthly report for July of 2022? Jim, second. Dale, all those in favor? Dale, 7 out. Okay, additional appropriations. Public hearing is now open at 9:46 a.m. Are there any public comments on these additional appropriations? Carol, any questions?
What, 50,000? And now it's up to 75.
Well, we-
Pardon?
Right now.
The Martin should have done better.
Well, it should. They would have always should hear.
But, you know, we are feeding a lot more
Beats, so
people.
we
and-
are, beats, so I have 60 bill, 29 of those are not ours. But the minimum. So,
And how much have we collected so far this year from housing other?
566,000.
Okay. And I think, well, our increase in staff was about 200,000, something like that, so we're. Our increase in staff to be able to house other county prisoners.
Right.
Is paying off,
Yes.
even if we do have to pay more meals.
And Mike is trying her best to keep the meal tax down per inmate. And there's certain times she can get them. So we're trying to substitute this for that. And so to make that, cost per tray lower, but it is just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good guideline.
oh yeah, we saw that nutrition, so everything that we do, nutritionists have to look at.
Right.
So if we substitute one thing for another, Mike has to give the nutritionist and say, hey, this qualify in order to make the calorie count per day for everything. So it's a long process now.
Any other public comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading the, joint session, minutes. And the weaker project, Mayor, can you explain that to me? What that is? Or, that's the deal. That's the all thing.
Okay, so I'll go into that. That's the Dev Studio building in Attica. They are. This WEGA, which is part of it is the city, and the city put in their economic development money. They put in some of their other funding, and they want to convert this business to be an incubator to help train people who want to start a business, and they're going to charge a fee to the other people who want to try to start. They're also, the city's putting in a marketplace right across the street. I don't know. Did you read about that?
I was here when that got presented that,
Okay,
but it's a 3-1 vote.
okay, so the commissioners voted to give them 750,000. So all three, I believe that all three commissioners, okay, voted to give them 750,000. So then the council in July voted not to give, vote for it. And I was not here, Tom was not here, so commissioners called a special meeting last week and to talk about the health department, but they also invited Attica and Kingman to come and talk to us about money. Okay, so the first motion that was made was to give them 500,000 plus a 250,000 interest-free loan. There were 3 votes for it, 3 votes against it, and I abstained. My reasoning behind that, I said, because I thought it was a good idea, but 750,000, I thought was an awful lot of money that was 1/4 of our ARP funds from the government. So we negotiated and we came up with 500,000. They were going to have to come up with the other 250,000. Some more people from around the county are put on the WEGA board so that it's a county-wide. Because they did show us things from people from around the county who are interested in using the facility. So the board will be a full county-wide board. And also, if something happens, this fails and the building sells, then the county will get a percentage. So say we put in 500,000, say the other organizations have put in 500,000, there's $1 million invested. I don't know if they'll be able to sell it for $1 million, but whatever they sell it for, the county will get half of their money back. And that's what we agreed. We negotiated with commissioners and the WEGA board and then voted 7-0 to do that. To help them out. So Does that answer your question?
I had here, when the gentleman was explaining everything, but I wasn't here to do it, so I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's how,
And then because I wasn't sure that was.
well, that's what I explain that. Pretty much the way. Okay. Any other questions? Carol, anything else? Okay, then I'm going,
The minutes in September 7th, the second motion of the volunteer.
then, yes, then they had to vote, because they had voted to give them 750,000, and we voted for 500,000 with the two other stipulations, and so the commissioners had to vote to agree with, because both have to agree on.
Right, I
on all
think I
that.
should say vote for you. 7-0. I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, 7-0, Ben County.
It's not anything, yeah, I changed.
I appreciated the way the council handled that.
Yeah, thank you.
So the city of Atticus, unless I'm not reading anything, that they put into that.
Yes, the city of Attucks has put in,
369,000 or 21,000, something like that.
right, plus then they have purchased the buildings on that one block that are gonna have to carry on with that shape, and I believe they put money into their tips money into help building the market. Okay, hearing no more comments, I will close the public hearing at 9:54 a.m. Okay, resolution 2022-28, county general jail for prisoners meals. Is there a motion to approve $75,000 for prisoners meals? Jim Lee. Second. Bill. All those in favor? 7-0. County General Commissioners, capital outlay $333,251. This is needed for our 25% match for the community crossing grant 2203-1. Big county general. Is that how you advertise this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so a motion to approve that. Dale, second. Kelly, all those in favor? No. MVH, general and undistributed. Other repairs and maintenance, 98,000 to cover the cost of the warranty agreement to cover the equipment. And we received that money right from the sale, so that went back into,
It went back in there. I
okay,
did have to use some of it to get the last additional that was approved. So I'm hoping this will go through.
okay.
I don't know. Later today or tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the additional 98,000, Kelly? Second. Bill, all those in favor? 7-0. Okay, we have transfer requests from Lead Public Safety. Social Security, $1,250 to elected officials. Because the sheriff's salary is set by the state, and they're runs July 1st through June 30th, so July 1st, the state raised the salary of the sheriff, so we need $1,250 to cover that for the rest of the year. Is there a motion to allow that transfer? Jim, second. Kelly, all those in favor? 7-0. Cume reassessment. $2,515.84 from website to pictometry. And $4,000 from website to travel. For classes for the assessor and deputies. Motion to approve the transfer of $6,515.84. Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? 7-0, I assume Tom's still on. Okay. County General Treasurer requests to transfer $1,460 from equipment to contractual services. So motion to approve that transfer. Jim. Second, Dale, all those in favor? County General, Purdue Extension, transfer $1,600 from postage to dues and subscriptions. Cover the cost of the educator state dues, IYI kids count conference dues, PCA, RET, and other miscellaneous dues that will come up the remainder of the year. So a motion to allow that transfer, Dale. Second. Bill, all those in favor? 7-0. Custodian, from janitorial supplies, $2,250 to the elevator chair lift to repair the chair lift outside right inside the doors. Or motion to approve that $2,250 transfer. And Kelly, Bill, second. All those in favor? County General Jail transfer from $700 to towels, linens to inmate personal hygiene, and $1,800 from laundry to kitchen. Due to they don't have enough money to carry them through the 2022 budget. Motion for that $2,500 bill. Second. Dale, all those in favor? No. County General Ambulance, $20,000 from overtime to vacation and sick. So motion to approve that. Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? 7-0. NVH restricted, transfer $8,032 from gravel to equipment. Cover the lease payment for the 2 new graders. Motion to approve that.
I got a question.
Okay.
Did we include this money in next year's budget?
I don't believe so.
No. We need to add it somewhere.
And that's on our question to talk about budget, because it's still have that money from over there.
And say we're gonna have the leasing. Yeah. we're gonna- But they want to be the,
They came, yeah, they came in early.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have a spreadsheet of all the things if you want.
Yeah. I understand. Okay, so is there a motion to transfer? Oh, Bill made the motion, so we get a second, Kelly. All those in favor? 7-0. Statewide 911 fund, $5,500 from part-time to Social Security. Our motion to approve that. And Kelly, Dale, second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, then, yeah, then the salary ordinance, but I do have, you have a copy, I want to, there's something there. Yeah, see, this shouldn't that say 2022?
Oh,
And this that. So we need to correct that too, so. So we need to amend the salary ordinance to reflect the sheriff's pay effective July 1st. And also, it does not have to reflect when Jason was hired as a highway superintendent, and we increased that salary. And Yes, we didn't,
We
we
did, we
did not.
approved everything, but we failed to sign the salary ordinance.
So, is there a motion to approve those two changes? Second, no. All those in favor? Okay, so. What all we need to sign before? we go?
All this here.
Oh,
I'll make that correction. And then I'll
Okay. Give you that one. There it is.
A transfer. For premium advertising, I haven't taken it to the commissioners yet, but. It's from, in the seated commissioners budget, from internet to printing and advertising, or in the red on that. Let's be brought up from attention this morning for that. Transfer 1,000.
We need to sign the two of these salary.
Yes, if you don't mind, that way I have one in Cohasset.
Just watch on the salary ordinance, the eyes on the opposite side is the other. Okay, let's go to department head report. Sheriff, do you have anything for us?
Forget it.
Okay. Okay. Garth here?
Yes. One, few things, so we did accept, bids for ambulances, the, commissioner did last meeting. Kind of reviewed through, this is a breakdown for you guys, to look at. We did receive two, bids. And one of them was 2023 Horton ambulance. Another one was a 2024 Osage. So the Horton ambulance come in at $328,029. We are going to trade in the ambulance to 2015 Gulf Coast. They're going to give us $10,000, which will bring it in at $318,029. Delivery date on that is 650 to 750 days. The Osage, 2024, 326, trade-in is $4,200. He put in there, Ford rebate of $2,000 with a question mark. They will not know what the rebates are until October sometime. So the Horton does not reflect the rebate. So whatever the rebate comes in for Osage is going to be the same as, yeah. So if it's $5,000, then both of them will have a $5,000 rebate. They'll be the same. Okay? But the delivery on the Osage is February of 2025.
I mean, it looks to me, it might be 2024. Or had they, did you accept one of these?
No, I have not. I just took, I gotta make my recommendation on Monday to them. I've been going through the specs and asking questions and stuff like that.
I hate to wait till 2025, but it could be 2025 almost before you get the other one. And you're getting a year newer.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I think.
we've had really good luck with the Hortons. Good service. I mean, we've actually, the truck that we just remounted with Hortons, It's 15 years old. I mean, the box is, and it's in great shape. You know, that's kind of where I'm leaning more towards, but I mean, obviously I can make my recommendations to the commissioners on that.
But no matter which one you get, it's not gonna be paid for next year.
Yeah, it will
So
be-
we could actually take that, because we're meeting. In thank you capital development, we really need, we didn't advertise enough. We could take that out, put it on some other funds, and then, because we're not gonna be funding anything next year, no matter.
You're looking at March of April 2024, and that's. I mean, it could come in sooner than that, but that's covering themselves right now. I talked to, or the company Avon Fire just ordered one. They're 13 months out. They're already at 13 months and I think they just got the chassis. Not even sure. And it's not just these companies. I've talked to other companies. They're talking, a lot of them, they're not seeing any relief until sometime in 2025 before they're back down to the 200 to 270 days, if it will even happen then. So, which I put down here on the bottom is the, you know, the mileage, you know. It would be nice to be able to purchase two, but I think the bid spec is set at one, so I don't think we can order two at the same time, but something we're really gonna have to consider the end of this year, first of next year, and get a second one ordered on it, you know, that way too, but we're gonna have to talk about that, because you're looking at some of these trucks are gonna get almost 300,000 miles. I mean, our run numbers are not changing. Last month, we thought we were slow. We finished out with 250 runs last month, and this month's just as busy as it has been. So it's not changing. Looking at our run, we're taking things longer distance. We're not taking them short distance. You know, I looked at, when I first started here, we always took a lot to Williamsport. We're not paying a lot to Lafayette. We're pulling a lot out of Kingman and taking Clear Lafayette, taking to Carl, Terre Haute. So that's where the mile, and it's not like the newest truck is the truck that everybody's in all the time. And, you know, each truck we try to distribute the miles throughout each truck so that we don't rack them up all in one vehicle. But you can still see the 2022, which we just received in February, we're already at 23,000 miles.
Yeah, I've got two with over 200,000.
Yeah.
Maybe with this delivery time, probably in 6 months, you better be getting another one ordered. We'll just have to find.
Right. And that'll put you probably out to almost into 2024, maybe beginning 2025. So I mean, the money will, and you don't have to pay till deliveries. So that kind of helps. I mean, puts us in a bind, but it helps a little bit. When you get all that money, but we're definitely going to have to look at that.
Since you already got bids taken, did you talk to them about just ordering another one on top of this?
I don't know how we can do that, because then when I looked at the bidder form, it says only one. So I don't know if that's something we gotta take to, yeah,
Ask Tina and see who the bidder to.
yeah.
We're just having bid at the same price.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something about reaching out to Kent, because I looked at the notice to bidder, it says one, type one. So I don't know where that falls legally. Can we order two?
Still have another one identity.
I don't know. So as soon as I'm done, I'll send an email to Kent and find out.
And
See.
get two ordered, if you can.
Yeah.
Get two ordered or not, I have to get another bid form out.
Right.
Was these off of any kind of state bid spec form?
Um,
That they bid off of, or is it-
I believe they do, yes.
well, I used to order the school bus, but there's.
I'll confirm that, but I think
Their
it
price
is.
is still
Yeah.
made to be.
Yeah.
The only difference was the markup, and the other one,
I'll confirm that, but I don't know what it is.
the little state bid. But, you know, what they all put out in the state bid, that much.
Yeah.
So, I'd have to go through the process.
Okay, I'll check on that and find out, but that's where we're at right now. I was thinking around 475, 480 days. We just ordered a new fire truck for Covington, and it's 475, so I thought that's where we were at, but the ambulances are totally different right now. The biggest problem I run into is chassis, is getting them, you know. And it's across the whole industry. It's not just these two companies.
Okay. Okay. I think everybody's in agreement, right, that we need to get two ordered if it's gonna be that far down the line. Yeah, we've got to keep these up, and those 2015 Fords are gonna be.
And we just did that, the one, the Lifeline, we just did a lot of front end work on it. The wheel coach, we're gonna have to do some front end work on it. It just came back. We had to work on the liquid spring system. I was wanting not to do that, but with it being out so far, I can't leave the truck set. The liquid spring part of it, I had to put new struts in. That was about $2,500, which with even if we order two, we're still looking April. This fleet's got to get me all the way through next year. I can tell you right now, my equipment repair right now is pretty well shot. I'm gonna have to probably come back for an additional at the next meeting. And then next year, I think I put in 25, which we'll play the game, we'll play it, but I'm thinking that's maybe not enough. I don't know what 2023 is gonna bring.
Right, that, just with where our numbers are right now, we're gonna need to leave that.
Right, and that's fine.
Yeah, something comes up and we'll have to look at.
Right. And I figured that just to give you a heads up, I just don't know what next year will bring. I'm hoping their fingers crossed will be good. But as they get older, they're just, and we try, like I said, to shoot them out throughout the trucks, but well, that's running the way we are. It's, another little thing I'm passing around to you, the floor drain system had been changed. It has been right at the 5-week mark. I talked with the commissioners on last Monday. Matt came in, Matt Johnson from Johnson Service came in, ran a camera up in there to look at it just to make sure we didn't have any issues. We are not having any issues. It's draining okay. No, I gave them 80. Oh. Sorry. Sorry. So we looked at it, everything looks good. So we're gonna move forward along with getting that floor, covered up. They reached out to the concrete company, they're trying to get a scheduled time in there to get that, finished up. I do have quotes from, Patton's, Tim Roomer, and then Vandal Flooring on the tile. We'll have to put new tile down. I don't know the exact numbers on that, but I'm working on getting that. But looking at this right now, these are, bills still need to be paid. There was a, right before we had, they tore the floor out, the drain got plugged again. Matt had to come in and just siphon it out. So there's a $400 fee there. Probably the camera that he just did last week is probably going to be another $500 on that and run the camera in there. The quote for $7,500, that's counting him. They're taking the concrete out, replacing it. Him going in, taking the tile out, putting new tile and the drain tile. So that's the $7,500. The Ferguson lumber portion, that is, we had to put plywood on top to cover it so people wouldn't walk through that. So that's what that is. And then with all the dust and the dirt that is caused, I had Newton's come in and give a price on cleaning the place afterwards. But one of the things they can offer is they can go in and seal off the area where we're at to try to keep it contained. But they also put in air scrubbers, which will absorb the dust
And then it, helps a lot with that. That's included in that, and then also going through the building and professionally cleaning it after it's all done, like cleaning all the ductwork. All that, that's what that $9,200 is, which I'll give you that quote. Which when you add this all up, that pushes us over that. We were taking that out of that one fund, and it was 15,000 in there, that's gonna push it over, so I don't know what we really wanna move forward with that. We definitely need to have them come in, at least to seal off and put those air scrubbers in. Once they come in, because I'll have to drill into the concrete. We'll put the rebar in, which is gonna create dust, and I think it would be. Try to keep that dust down, we really need to put those air scrubbers in there and let them seal that building down. So keep it contained, but then the air scrubber will pick up that dust in that area. There's dust we temporarily covered ourselves with the plastic. And it still got out. So. But that's kind of where we're at right now, is on that, is moving forward with the floor. I have not heard a timeline yet when the concrete building will be there. She called and they were trying to figure out their schedule, so I don't know, the next couple of weeks they'll be in.
Any questions?
Last thing I have real quick, so. We have a vacant or open, vacant, whatever you want to call, paramedic spot. The paramedic that was there moved on, she became a registered nurse, now she's working as an RN. We have advertised Facebook, we've advertised through the state website. We've done everything, we keep advertising, we're not getting any invites on anybody to, to come work as a paramedic. We're gonna keep trying, hopefully maybe we'll get that done, but I think I've talked about this quite a bit in previous meetings. I think we need to really look at helping with career opportunities with our present employees. I did not get the information from the company yet, but I do have information from Crawfordsville Fire Department. They use a program called the School of EMS. They run their individuals through a paramedic program. It's an online program. Majority of all their classroom is done at station, and then every so often they move to another facility, clinical site, and do their clinical time. This company is 100% pass rate on the paramedic program, but they don't have to travel to Indianapolis twice a week to take a class. The majority of the classes are done in-house. And every so often they move to another facility. I would like to see the county pay, like when I went through back in 2005, I went through the intermediate program. The county paid for me to go through the class. I signed a 2-year contract, stayed here, went through the paramedic program. When they changed all that, you guys graciously paid for me to go through. Stayed around, I signed a 2-year contract and stayed here. I would like to see the county pay for the guys to go. I've got some individuals within my group that are interested in becoming paramedics, pay for the class, have them sign a 2-year contract, which would create that return investment like we have in the past. I have a contract, a new updated one, sent it to Kent to look at. Right now, the classes are running probably around $6,500 to $7,500, which most of them are around $8,000 to $9,000. This one's about $6,500 to $7,500, about 14 months long. But I think if we could create that career opportunity, one, it might future EMTs coming in knowing that they could have that opportunity to further their career. And also the people within in-house give them that opportunity to, move further on in their career. Some places are doing sign-on bonuses. I'm not sure we want to go down that road. That's, most places, I know some are between $5,000 and $15,000 for a sign-on bonus for a paramedic. We can, at this point, handle that, but that's there. A lot of places, that's what is attracting them in. But I think this could help with, help keep people we have now here, and probably some in the future that know if they come and work here, they have that opportunity, further their career. And they would sign that 2-year contract, and that would give you our return on investment, kind of like what we did.
One thing you might check in, it's called the Learning Center in Williamsport, because I know the state's giving them money to train, and there's like 150 different jobs that they are paying for, that they give them $5,000 to send someone to truck driving school. They're doing CNN classes, state pays the whole. They do have to come in and do testing, make sure they are qualified. They didn't have enough knowledge. I think they have to be freshman or sophomore level on their testing, and then
So they learn it,
yeah, 764-1880. And always then ask her if paramedics is under that, because I mean, they aren't doing.
Who am I talking to? Lisa. Okay. Yeah, I just think we need to really seriously look at it, because right now we're just, I've got 3 individuals right now interested. And if we had them trained at that level, I could move those into that, one of them into that spot. We could hire an EMT to take their spot, but it would give us that option to be able to do that. We're not getting, and we're not the only one. There's the whole industry is having a hard issue with it, but I think if we can create some career opportunities for individuals, potential career opportunities, some are not going to do it. And there's stipulations that I would want on it. I agree with Terry to made a comment about, I want them here for at least a year. Make sure, are they going to last? I really want, no offense, I don't mean to be mean, but I don't want somebody here 6 months and then all of a sudden they leave. I think if they're going to be here for a year, I think that should be admitted.
Will get us that information, but also check, because I know she's had to turn back money to the state, because not many people want to take these classes, and the state paying them full.
Okay, I'll check on that and see.
Like I said, I don't know, paramedic is one of them. There's like 150 different job opportunities that the workforce development is paying there, and the learning center serves about Warren and Benton County, so anybody from Mountain County is entitled to do the classes with the qualifies.
We talked about Scott Blusenbark. He's the fire chief from Providence. Let me take much more time. He has been sending EMTs to paramedic school through the school VMS program. They really, really like it. They do all their classroom there at the station, and then every so often they go to Fisher's Fire Department to do the clinical time for the clinical, whatever, airway management or whatever it is. But like their ambulance field internship, they just do it right there with their department. And it saved him a lot of money over time by just doing that. So he really likes this program. So there is, Lafayette just did it. It's got a class going on, but unfortunately we didn't get in that. We were included in that. So I'd like to see us go that way and try to create some more opportunities for people. Because we're and our numbers are not changing. We gotta have more people trained at that level.
Any questions? Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Highway Department. Jason.
How do you think you guys want to have
Yeah, we will when we start talking about budgets here, so you can stick around for that. Okay. Sorry. So the couple in the back, are you representing some group? Or do you have anything to bring before us?
Yeah, I was here to listen to her, we're also still developers, we'll be following out the other projects and there's questions, other questions, and so I want to gather information and just
Solar developments in other parts of the county then?
other parts of this county,
Okay,
from Florida to Michigan. So we're very busy too.
What company are you
GNX.
with? That's, Keys to Vatican.
GX. So there's one up by Attica.
Correct.
Got anything? No? Anybody else back there? I can't see hiding. Greg's probably back there. Greg already left. Greg, got anything?
I'm good.
Okay. Then let's talk about, some budget stuff here. I have questions and comments, on things that we did not, well, we discussed, but we want to bring it up between everybody. I've looked over, so far what we have, MVH restricted, I believe what the budget we have is going to be, will be approved by the LGF. I think we've got things cut and we're good shape there. Hume Bridge, same thing. I think we're all right there. Local roads and streets, we're all right there. Public safety, we are okay on public safety, Hume reassessment, 911. And that's about it. And we need to look at county general, MVH, and human capital development and seeded. So let's start, first one, MVH. Jason, we moved one employee from MVH to MVH restricted to help balance that out. Can we get by with moving 2 employees from MVH to MVH restricted? I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what the state stipulation is on restricted funds, but you have, what, 14 laborers, I believe, right? And you need 1. Well, just on the line item labor, I think it's 14, we move 1 to restricted. Can we move 2?
The way that's stated, it looks like we can use them as long as we need more. That's correct.
Right.
I'm on that.
Okay. I mean, I would think 2. It doesn't have to be those 2 people, but we would have enough to full-time people being on, so that would help a little bit get our MVH down if we did that. So we'll move 1 more labor. Is everybody okay with that? Moving that from MVH to MVH restricted, that will still be okay. We're restricted. Right now, we're $385,000 over on MVH. And I think that's probably, we're getting close. I mean, we can be a little over because I think we should have a little, we have done additional, but we still should have some money left at the end of the year. So I don't think the LGF would not approve it.
I was planning on trying to have at least 15% less of my engagement.
So, okay. And then, but then we've got 2 more leases that we haven't. We didn't know about, with these 2 graders and.
Did Rusty not come in here and tell you guys that we were getting 2 new graders? Back in February, I believe.
21. Yeah, we both must be.
Yeah, we talked about it, I don't know if we told us he was ordering.
Yeah, because the originally wasn't supposed to be there the next calendar year.
Okay,
Then he came back and said they were going to be here in August, first September. That's what happened.
okay, so what, how much is that going to add to your?
That's $112,000.
361.99
That's for both graders.
for both.
Per year, how many years gonna pay per
Per
year?
year.
Yes.
I know.
111,000.
That brings me up to 8 leases. I mean, that's,
Crazy.
Yeah,
I just not have that many leases in the
okay. Then we still have questions about mechanics because of the enterprise. I mean, are we doing the service on all these enterprise vehicles? Okay, so you're still, because we were wondering if mechanics could be moved to laborers, but you're still gonna need your. So Jim, Lee, does that answer your question then on that? Okay,
I don't mean.
Well,
So. Are we?
this is, we were supposed to, I thought, nobody ever got said, this was supposed to take care of like the maintenance and do another. $12 a month on the lease. Tim brought it up to me. Yeah, it's not going any further than that, so we haven't done the first service on any of these vehicles, but we're getting close. So we don't,
well, and we're getting finance charges. We noticed on the, why are we paying finance charges when we have $168,000 credit? Like we-
I think that was a mistake.
Okay.
Well, it's in because you call that as, you call that as a bill, you're talking about for the $9,000.
Each vehicle, when there
Yeah.
are finance charges on each.
$15 charges. Of finance charges on you. If you got to look at the invoice.
And we, well, actually, we all agreed that we took out the 118,000. Budget on enterprise because the commissioners have not explained anything to us about this enterprise. What's included here, we've gone a year now, we've asked questions and can't get answers, you can't get answers, so we took that out, and yeah, I mean, it's not your fault, it's. You know, we appointed 2 people to meet with the enterprise with the commissioners, and they've never called a meeting to talk with enterprise about this, and. Yeah, that's, yeah, with the interest fee, so, I mean, we took it out, we still have $165,000 credit that shows, and, just because you gotta have some text in there to get the LIF, and we don't want them to come to us like last year in January and say, you gotta cut $1 million, and,
The third of the charges on this monthly invoice are finance, so
Which month do you have, Jim?
That August.
this is.
I've got one from June.
Each one, this is June, you're doing a bond receipt.
And there's, yeah, there's financial $21, $10, $10, $21, $1, $10, and just goes on and on and on. I wonder what those are all for.
yeah. So, who can answer that for us? The
ones that set it up, we got all that work, and we don't have to have.
All of
And
this-
we can't get an answer, that's why we took it out of budget, so we get an answer. Okay.
And you see if I can-
Okay.
These
Well,
So it's $180.
So we're gonna have to put those 2 leases in MBA's. And we're gonna move 1 labor
Mhm.
from MBA.
In PPH?
Oh, can we put them,
We can put them in restricted.
okay,
If need be. We can pay for leases and equipment and things of that nature.
I think I would put the
Okay.
graders in.
okay, that will be fine, but now we were right at. So what I think we should do is we put those in, your gravel and your bituminous, you increased it. Let's put that back to what it is this year And then we can see where we stand. You're gonna need money next year. We can increase that, but if we put the gravel back to 79 from 100,000, the bituminous from 693 back to 630. That gives us 84,000, and the leases are 111, 30,000 that the LGF is not gonna work because we are within $1 of what we should be receiving in funds next year, and you're gonna have some money left over, and then you can do whatever we have left over, then we need more gravel on our teams. Will that work for you?
Are
Okay,
you restricted or?
I'm in restricted. So restricted, we're gonna put the gravel back. Everybody in agreement with that? The gravel and the bituminous back to what this year's budget was. And then we add the 2 graders in there. Then we should be okay, still should be okay for MVH restricted. Oh, we're gonna move an employee though. That's so, for this. A little bit above, but I think I should think. Yeah.
Those were just.
And then the MVH, we're gonna move a mechanic. We're 385 over. If we take your other repairs and maintenance.
Are you moving the mechanic or just the worker?
No, we're moving. I'm sorry, yeah, we're moving the worker. That's on the 7 pages. There's 3 pages of MVH, it's not restricted. Okay, so we're gonna move the laborer. And then let's, on the 1176 general and undistributed, if we do our other repairs and maintenance, it went from 190 to 225, let's put it back to 190. And you've got equipment, 25,000. And it was 0 this year.
We were just trying to keep up on
And there's tons in there, I don't think anybody in here is gonna object. But we just wanna get our numbers so that the LGF doesn't say you gotta be making these cuts. And then we put that back to 0, the equipment. And the other repairs back to 190,000 and move the mechanic or move the labor. That will get our 385 down. 35, 60, 100,000. It still puts us about 285,000 over. Let's look at the page once she gets these changes, because we're not gonna vote on it until next month, and we'll see where we stand and whether we think the LGF will. I think that's
We should not be doing it
okay.
unless we start looking for new dump trucks here next year, but we can budget that. After this lease items paid off.
Okay, and local roads, Q Bridge, those all look, I think we're okay with the LGF, so, okay. That's all I have for highway, I think. So, anybody has any questions? Okay, so that's good. We'll see what that looks like next month and we'll get these changes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Are you this around right now? No. That's it. Thank you. Okay, then, okay, so that should get MVH close enough that we'll be okay. County General, we are $893,849 over what we expect to receive. I mean, we do have some cash on hand, but we really don't want to, because we don't know how many additionals we're going to have. Our Cume capital development though is 774,000 more. Well, that can be right, because we advertise 409,000. Okay, but see that we are $1.4 million seeded and So we're $788,000 more in seated than what we're gonna receive in. And it's okay, see that's on page 31 under county commissioners. And we increased, the request was, commissioners requested group health. This year's budget is 392,000, and next year they're asking for 900,000 out of that fund. Well, we haven't spent any so far this year, correct?
Well, I think.
Oh, wait a minute.
Um,
I think I asked about that during the meeting, and why there was such a large jump. And it seemed like to me there was some bills they were anticipating.
Yeah, we got, I think, a couple probably lasers.
The reason why we got those on there is because I did not know which fund we wanted to all taken out of. So I put it in both budgets to advertise high, so we have room to play
Right.
with.
Okay. The,
We were doing pretty good till just last week or two.
now,
We got hit with a big claim. Group health, we have 92,000 left in from the 392,000 today.
okay. Well, I know DLGF's gonna come back to us and say, you can't do that budget. See that because it's twice what we're gonna receive in, so I think what we need to do is cut that group health to 400,000. And that gives us. We get health bills, we gotta pay them, no matter what, but, we've got to be able to get DLGF to approve this, so we cut that 500,000, then we're 288,000 over. And the problem is it's seated. We started the year with 474,000. But we budgeted for this year 900,000. And our average is 525,000 a year we get. So we 400,000, if we spend every bit of our seated budget this year, we're 400,000 over what we normally receive. And we started with 474,000. So we're gonna have about $75,000 left at the end of the year. So DLGF's gonna look at that and say, well, we still got to cut. I guess we can hope we don't spend, you know how much we've spent so far this year, or 0.4 million, or so we haven't even spent half of, that's probably gonna see that is how much,
620,716.
or 897. Okay, then. Two other things I think we could look at on the seated budget is the economic development. Whether we decide to do that or not, I think that ought to be moved to human capital development and take that out of seated, that 60,000. We'll discuss that.
Oh, the director, the.
Yes,
person.
we talked about economic development / grant writer. We do need to decide whether we want to do that, but I think we better take that out of seated budget. And the only other thing, computer hardware, I think we should take that out of seated, and we can, we need it, we'll take out something else, but.
The solid waste is on there, that I don't know if you've heard that, it's not helpful, because that has to come from the county general. That could be moved as. And really, that's just it's paid back, but
Can we make, do we move solid waste to keep capital development?
I mean. No,
Yeah,
I don't think so,
yeah,
because that's more for capital.
but solid, you said solid waste is paid back, so.
Yes, it's
So-
reimbursable.
Okay, so that's reimbursable, comes back into that fund.
Mhm.
So we have that 90, that's 60, the 150 and 500, 700. $65, $75, and we're getting that 600. Now we're about within 120,000, so I think we'll be all right. We take out the computer hardware at 15,000. The 60,000 out of seeded. And cut the group health to 400,000, which should. Is everybody okay with that? That should get us seeded budget approved. Okay. Then. Okay, let's go to page 14, county commissioners. How much have we spent of the 475 in group health county commissioners for this year?
Everything.
Everything. So we only have 92,000 left for the whole year for health.
So we hit you with an additional next month. We got some of our reimbursement now, but.
Well, I thought maybe we could cut that 750. For health and commissioners to. Get some of our money. County general, but. I think we better leave that the way it is. Okay, so then let's go to,
Kind of,
and then we could do additional,
yeah.
well, okay, can we cut it to
Mhm.
500,000? Everybody okay with that?
It's considered.
Okay, that gives us 250,000. So. Over on 893,000, okay, so, next page, the county annex. We took out all the building repairs, because we said use our funds for that, but telephone, why do we need telephone out there till we're ready to start? And it says it's gonna be a year before we do, so can we take that 10,000 out of that?
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Well-
We took that out. We took so the only thing on that page is 12,000 for utilities, if we are gonna have utility bills out there. Okay, so that's the only, office supplies. We don't need.
We're not gonna
They
need
did
any-
say that. In there.
Yeah, because they use the
Because
building for
prison,
small
got a
meetings.
printer around.
I'd like to keep that out there, so they'll stay out of my budget.
Oh, keep the 500 office supplies, okay. Okay, but we're gonna take 10,000 out. No,
10,000, okay.
Yeah.
The telephone, building repairs and internet.
Well, how many utilities are out there? Lights.
Yeah,
Lights and gas.
yeah,
Yeah,
So is 12,000 reasonable? For utilities?
what's been running right now?
probably a sewer area out there too.
Or 1,000 a month, that would be 12,000.
Mhm. You don't know what the heat bill is.
No, we don't know that till.
So.
It gets here.
So let's just leave that 10,000 and well, I mean,
12.
12,000 and. But we'll take the telephone out, that gives another 10,000.
Mhm.
Okay, then, okay, let's see the page. Next thing we need to talk about is, okay, public safety. Page 44, under the sheriff, county sheriff. Okay, so. Andrew called me and asked about, Fountain Central has a grant for resource officer. And they want to know if they pay 75% of it, if the county would pay 25%. And the sheriff's department would have a deputy the whole summer, Christmas break, spring break, all the holidays. Fountain Central pays 75% of the salary, health insurance, and retirement, if we pay 25%. For them to have.
Can I elaborate on that, Stephen?
So
what happened is basically they have their full-time SOR design. They brought to us. We think that, well, in today's society, I would not want to see us do unattended. So and we were asked to actually look into it. We were looking into it about bringing in, and we'd like to have those out there. Again, in today's society, I mean, if my kids weren't out there, I still want somebody out there just for the protection of the rest of the kids.
And I think Covington and Attica, don't they pay the police?
Yes, so
They pay them for, on their days off to be at the schools.
yeah.
It's actually.
Kevin can actually have their own SOR program.
Okay,
Kevin used to work in Attica.
okay,
So.
that's out of their
yeah.
system.
Yeah, they're out there.
Okay,
They're scheduled to be there.
Yes, they are actually, yeah, they are scheduled to be there Monday through Friday. Yeah, they're- right. Now, we've got a guy out there that's part-time on his days off. Who is working a regular shift too. We also have sitting out there on his regular shift, a couple rounds.
So they don't have our on site.
Yeah, it's got a lot of work.
He's the only one not, there is only one.
Correct.
There's guys.
Scott, the little one.
Someone's there, another person.
Yeah, I would like, yeah, so,
New whole other-
yes, so he would be. Go ahead.
well, we budget 20,000. For that, because Fountain Central is gonna pay 75%. And I don't know whether they're gonna reimburse us, I mean, one, commissioners will have to approve it, but we put it in our budget for next year, and if they approve, you guys work out the deal, we'll pay 25%. You get them on all the holidays,
Yes.
time off in the summer,
Yep.
the officer.
It's like it's like getting through summertime.
Yeah.
But like right now, our call line, we're way past where we were last year, so. I love it.
So is everybody in agreement? We had 20,000 on public safety for a goal report officer, and then he can work it out. Okay with everybody? We're gonna add 20,000. That should cover retirement, salary, and health insurance, and the school pays 75%. Okay, so that'll be added to the public safety, and that should keep us in good shape, and we're within $2 there. Okay, next one, okay, so we advertised human capital development, 409,000. Okay, 409,000. In human capital development, okay, we have, well, we have right now. We started the year with $905,000 in human capital development. This year's budget was 317,000, and we averaged 248,000 a year. So 69,000 off of the 905 gives us $836,000 that we have extra in human capital development. Well, we can't put that much in funds because we only advertised 409,000, but 409,000 includes 300,000 for an ambulance. So we're not going to be paying for an ambulance next year, so we could move technically $400,000 from county general into human capital development for next year, and that would bring us down 660,000 of our 893. So what I would suggest is that we move county government building courthouse and move that under human capital development. Is that one that we could move?
The annex.
No, but I think under the 0172 county building courthouse.
Oh, the courthouse.
Yes.
Okay.
That's $144,000 budget. You can move to capital development. And you can check on these. If we
Okay.
can't, then we'll look at something else to move. That's $144,000 we can take out of county general, put into in capital. Everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay. Then also landfill, we'll move that in capital development. That's 115,000. Everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
If we can do that. And then parks and recreation. That's only $1,175, but we move that to human capital development. Then we're gonna take the ambulance out. We won't be paying for that next year. That's 300,000. Okay, so we have 260,000 that we've moved from county general into human capital development. So we still have $149,000. We'll need to look through here and see what we can move. Is that okay with everyone? Colleen, look at that, see what we can move.
Yeah. Look at the ordinance.
Yeah, okay. Then last is that, some reason we didn't put any money in for sheriff's vehicles, because we took it out of this county general fund.
We talked about,
County farm, I think.
yes,
Okay, so, we need to put that back. How much did you advertise?
Sheriff Terrier's gonna need a couple of good horses.
I've got a few mules down home.
Okay. Really, truly, start trained out, all right? If I get a call in my direction, I'll see you in about 2 hours. I just want to know, you better train them. I've seen them where they've actually walked into a bar in Chicago.
County farm.
And drag a guy out back in that horse.
That's
That
a good one.
was interesting.
$15,823, that's. $40,000,
Okay,
and I had done that for the hopes of a sheriff.
okay, so but
It's just not under the sheriff.
Well, but under. Make the line item says sheriff's vehicle, so that
Okay.
there's no mistake what that means for, okay, 40,000. And then hopefully you'll get that grant again and we're,
So the grant,
no, I'm gonna get it.
So you can only get the grant if you have invoicing prior to completing the vehicle, and will not reimburse after the fact of purchasing the vehicle. For GM, it's, price of delivery this year because of everything, I guess, and so we don't even have price on the vehicle. We have a rough estimate on our vehicle, but no set pricing. I thought orders are 3 for this year. He also ordered an extra, in case we wanted to get on board with getting an extra one this year, because the way the prices went up over last year. That's what we're afraid of. It's not happening, so. I don't know if that's gonna be a discussion in itself, but the 3 that we have ordered, we don't process.
Okay,
We do know that they're starting at like 42,400, which is about 4,000 more than it was last year. So,
okay. Well, we can only put in 40,000, that's all advertised, so we can't put in, but we'll have to do additional to do. More vehicles, but they ordered 4, then let's see where we stand budget wise. You can get us a new updated list of your vehicle mileage. I don't think we've had that for a while, so.
next Wednesday, we have a meeting with the veterans on the vehicles. So,
Okay. Just get it for next month's meeting.
really cool.
Yeah. We gotta keep them up to date, same as their ambulance, so. Okay. Okay, so last we need, what's your thoughts on a, economic development / grant writer for the county?
On the fence. I think we need somebody because I don't want to miss out on any type of opportunity we are missing out on. I mean, we need to go after all the dollars we can get.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, I looked at, other counties, and I think Warren County is the only one that has a grant writer.
And they share with Tiffany County, is that correct?
Yes, and. I say it was like 80, they paid 80-some thousand for grant writer in Warren County.
Something like that. But is that total or is that? just-
See, I don't know, I need to call, the auditor and ask her about that because, I know it's not economic development because they have that board up there and that's what,
It's been.
yeah, Ben to spend it, but I don't know how that, it's gonna be a councilman in January, so. But the county puts money into that, but that's a board. In Warren County, they have local businesses that put in money for the salary, but,
Right.
well. We're gonna finalize next month's meeting, so think about it. I'll see if I can get some more information, but I got the salary ordinance from Benton, Warren, Vermillion, Park, and I don't believe I think Warren County is the only one that have a grant writer, but I think I'm beginning to think that we could keep a grant writer busy and go after grants.
And you can mind with an economic development person.
We, sue the attorney. Council.
But yeah, send our budget 5,000 for attorney, so we can have somebody here that needs to give us guidance. I mean, that's in there, we'll vote on it next month. But we'll give them, calling it changes, get all these done and then we'll.
I just text Ron and see if she gets back to me on the fuel bill at, Maple Corner. It's running about $55. That's what the last one was for,
Okay,
but you've got winter coming.
that's right. What about lights, water?
I don't know.
Okay, That's okay. Well, but actually, if you could check into that, and then we'll know what, before next month's meeting, when we do our final budget. So then the thing is, think about economic development / grant writer things.
My only thing is, thought about that is, you hire somebody and they do for the county. $50,000 for each county, and they're just putting their name in the blank on the form on a computer, to send a grant application. You know, we're not getting a volume discount. Or something,
Right.
and I don't know whether that's when we look at that kind of business, they're consultants, that are doing it for their own profit, but. I mean, I'm just asking that question, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I mean, look at. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, because I don't know how much we're missing out on grants.
your county is going after the same grant,
Mhm.
they're making 5 grant applications and all they're doing. Changing the document. But I mean, it's a real result for us, I think, for us.
Eh,
It
I
just
mean, I look at the judges and she's got 20 of her 21 pages is grant money, but then he goes after grants and I don't know.
There is, I agree with Jim. But on the flip side of that, there is like certain documents you have to have from the county and,
Yeah, I'm sure you gotta have a financial.
but yeah, financial, and you're right.
But
So that's why I should call you.
Yes. Yeah, they've got to know, and I don't know, maybe we have another person in the auditor's office that takes care of going after grants. We also, we talked joint meeting about health department, with grants, we really need somebody to look at the grants for that.
I mean, if you found somebody that could do that, would have that broad range of knowledge about federal and state health and law enforcement, and social justice and EMS and EMA and we look how many departments we have that rely on grants.
Right.
Somebody's gonna have to be up on what's going on to make me feel like they're earning. Right. And maybe that's not being generous enough in what that is. I don't know, but
I mean, we had Community Foundation asked about subsidizing employee to help with. And we has also mentioned that too, that they could have somebody that would help go into all these meetings for economic development. So it's just something to think about. And we'll have to decide next month when we do it. So, or else leave it out and put it in as an additional later in the year for next year. But Garth, you have
One thing I would say, I agree with Jim, and it's not what Terry wants to say, but I know there's grants out there. I applied for a grant for laptops. And I spent 2.5 days in upstairs with Tina. And I can tell you what, that was. We were ready to walk around because of what we require. And we already got enough now to do in our, I could say to me, I'm sure I have the time to been all the time in where if you have somebody who knows the roundabout will do it. But then this whole county, I think would be one of the best, I don't know, Terry feels.
Yeah, I want people sitting around with nothing to do, we're always busy. So I don't mind those grants out there for us, that actually moving some issues here. And this means they actually get involved and do it. But that is what we
I agree with them. Trying to find somebody to do that. And then on my end, it's a guessing game as to what they actually want. They say one thing and you give them something and no, they really wanted something else. So then you have that, where a grant writer would know exactly what they would want.
well,
for training.
definitely, in my opinion, if we have something like that, I think it ought to be under auditor, or at least under one of the office holders where they know what they're doing and they can work on getting those grants and filling out paperwork, and they can work with the auditor because all the money's gonna go through the auditor's office anyway, so.
And that's where the financial stuff is, so it makes sense to put it in.
Okay, well, think about it, well,
The thing that I see about that is, this, the comment is, you'll still have departments asking for more help. As you go, for another employee or another EMS or another sheriff or something like that. And you're going to have, $70,000-$80,000 of another salary on the end of which you're probably hiring a grant writer for that much. It is useful at how the service you have to have with other employees or other departments, so. You have to weigh that out.
right, yes, I mean, they've got to be able to bring in enough grants to pay their salary plus help other departments, and whether there's enough out there to do, I don't know, that's something we need to. I totally agree, I mean, it's got to pay for itself, or it's not.
We're doing that, our, definitely don't really.
With less money. Next year's, our tax dollars is gonna be based on. Starting in 2023, our tax dollars coming in from the state's gonna be based on the new census, which we know our census went down, so. They've already notified us that highway funding is gonna be down 500,000 next year, so. It's gonna affect the rest of it. Okay, anything else?
If you have any thoughts on the school department. I don't know whether all of you.
Okay. If we do it, we want the most money, we.
Yeah, that's what like we talked about. And everything we're talking.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
He's,
good.
yes, he's the one that worked with us on the bonds for the jail, and I gotta see that's great.
Obviously, there's.
Don't forget, next month's meeting is on Tuesday, because Monday's the holiday, so October 11th. Okay, if nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? For a second? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Administrator.